So, general thought on constraints. There's a big movement within teaching that's called just the constraints-led approach. Meaning, just if you choose the right constraints, you'll get the results or the teaching results that you want. This is true in terms of just running a drill. If you put, for example, I often play 4-box, 4-on-4 with a 3-second ball clock. Can't pass and stand. So we create 4 boxes. If you pass, you have to move. You can do anything, but you can move sideways or to the basket or anywhere. And the 4 boxes mean only one person can be in the box, and you move it every 3. Well, those 3 constraints lead players to do a lot of really good things. So much so that they'll often look like they're running an offense when really they're just doing what they're allowed to do with the constraints that are given them, and they learn along the way. Pretty much everything we do it revolves around that. I think the one constraint that we often underestimate is the constraint of the rules. Games themselves are based on the constraints of the rules we create, right? So in Summer League, we use a small ball for young kids, smaller balls for young kids. We have less players on the court. We lower the rim. We don't keep score, right? So we've removed that constraint of the score that often constrains them to do only the things they're good at. We've done a lot of videos maybe to tell parents to be quiet and let their kids play. I suppose that's another constraint. But the reason this is important, right, is that whatever rules and constraints and things you choose lead to different kinds of learning. And in this context, I'll just address, the little guys playing on a smaller rim, even up through 3rd and 4th grade, a lower rim. Sometimes parents say, well, my kid's used to a 10-foot, or he's used to a bigger ball, or he's used to whatever. That's fine. What's cool about it is it really doesn't matter if he's used to that. It's good to play with a variety of balls. I grew up playing on good balls, bad balls, high rims, low rims, dunk ball, bank shots. Changing the constraints is actually good for learning. In this context, though, also one thing to note is that, younger ages, it's important to be able to handle the ball better. That's a high priority. Therefore, we use a younger ball, or smaller ball, that kids can dribble better and maybe go through their legs or behind the back or pass easier, any number of things. And then the second thing is they can shoot from farther out. And what people now understand, we didn't understand it 20 years ago for some odd reason, but the further out you can shoot, the more space you create. So we want kids to be able to fire away from as long as possible, right? As far as possible. They might not be able to shoot the 3. Some of them will fire away. At the younger ages in 1st and 2nd and 3rd grade, even 4th grade, like form's not that big a deal. You want them to have an idea of what it should look like, but it's not a huge deal if they don't get it right. So when you're creating these games for kids, you want to choose the right constraints, and that means the ball and that means the rim. But understand that we lower the rim and we keep a smaller ball so that kids can fire away from as long as possible, because the further they can move out, the further they'll be guarded out, the more space that's created. I talked about that in another video for our summer. But understand it that's part of the rules, and part of the constraints we create is to create more space and to create a more dynamic situation to play. So there's your thought for this round. We'll be back with more.